Commissioner Klezak, are you able to hear me?
Yes, I can. Thank you.
Okay, go ahead and put us back on mute.
I call this meeting of the Seaside Planning Commission to order. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance. Debbie, could you please take roll call?
Here.
Here.
Vice Chair Klezak.
Here. I was just going to say your microphones are cutting out. I'm not hearing anything.
Commissioner Rose.
Present.
Commissioner Mitchell. Here. Perfect.
This is the time and place duly advertised for the Seaside Planning Commission to hold its monthly meeting. Agenda items can be initiated by the general public, any legal property owner, Seaside City Council, city staff, and the Seaside Planning Commission. Does anyone present feel the commission lacks the authority to hear any item on the agenda? Hearing none. Are there any corrections, deletions, additions to the minutes, to the draft minutes of September? I write this down every time. September 2nd, 2025. I just had a note, Debbie, that Sadie Mercer was also in attendance and was a speaker last month. And I believe it was John Lansing was present and not necessarily Representative Javadi in person. He was representing Representative Javadi. A lot of
Okay.
representing going on.
Got it.
So just that note there. Anything else? Okay, we'll move on. It is standard procedure for the members of the commission to visit the sites to be dealt with at these meetings. Do any of the commissioners wish to declare an ex parte contact or possible conflict of interest?
I live within a couple hundred feet of this project. I don't think it's a conflict, but
Noted.
I'm a neighbor.
Okay. Thank you.
I own the property across the street from the restoration house.
Noted. The following public hearing requirements apply to the items on our agenda. The applicable criteria for the
Mayor
hearing.
Montero, sorry to interrupt
Excuse
you.
me.
Commissioner Klezak has her hand up.
Yes, ma'am.
I just want to state that I don't feel like I have a conflict, but that I do represent, that I also am on the board of the transportation district that may be impacted by one of the items that we will be discussing.
Wonderful. Thank you. And sorry I didn't see you there. I'm used to you
Okay.
being right here.
I know. I would have elbowed you.
Thank you. The following public hearing requirements are apply to the items on our agenda. The applicable criteria for the hearing items are listed in the staff reports prepared for this hearing. Testimony and evidence shall be directed toward the applicable criteria listed in the staff reports or other criteria in the plan or land use regulation which you believe applies to the decision. Failure to raise an issue accompanied by statements or evidence sufficient to afford the decision maker and the parties an opportunity to respond to that issue precludes appeal to the Land Use Board of Appeals on that issue. The applicant will testify first, followed by any others in favor of the request, then any in opposition will testify, and then the applicant will be given time for rebuttal. For testimony, we will hear from in-person attendees, followed by electronic attendees. When the time comes to hear from the members of the public attending electronically, there's a feature in the attendee view that allows you to electronically raise your hand by clicking on the control panel at the bottom of your screen. Phone attendees can raise their hand by pressing *9. You will then be placed into a queue, and when your time comes to speak, you will be unmuted and can address the commission. Our moderator of the comments, Administrative Assistant Debbie Kenyon, will monitor this area and let us know when citizens that have virtually raised their hand are ready to make comments via Zoom or by phone. Background noise must be kept to a minimum while testifying, or your testimony time will be ended shortly. Prior to testifying, please state your full name and your address for the record, and please limit your comments to 5 minutes. Public hearing items. Here we go, folks. Public hearing 769-25000085 PLNG. Mr. Planner.
Thank you, Chair Montero. Tonight we have Evergreen Energy Group represented by Jan Sucha. Their request is for a highway overlay zone review to construct a gas station and convenience store near the intersection of 14th Avenue and Highway 101. It's just north of the movie theater that sits off at 12th. As you can see, the proposal will access the site via 14th Avenue, as well as an easement that goes through the back parking area for the cinema. The applicants provided a site plan, proposes pedestrian access through the remainder part of the 13th Avenue right-of-way that exists. You can see there on the bottom part of the string, the south end of the development, where there is still public right-of-way that accesses the highway through what used to be the railroad right-of-way that runs along the highway. The remainder of that had been vacated previously. The applicant's site plan shows EV charging banks, fuel station, as well as just over 1,000 foot or so convenience store. The applicants provided renderings of what the elevations potentially could look like for this project, as well as a photograph of a similar project that was done in another part of Oregon of a similar type and of fuel station that they're looking to install. Staff's provided findings, and justification statements and conclusions, as well as excerpts from the traffic impact analysis they had completed.
Community Development Director Flory, just
Yes.
before you go any further, could I please interrupt? I can't see anything that you're showing the commission. Would it be possible to share that screen as well, or reference where that is in the packet so that I can be following along at the same time as what you're talking about?
It needs to be. Trying to get the camera system, it's hard to operate and present at the same time. So,
Sure.
are you able to
Appreciate
see
that.
what I'm seeing now? What I'm showing?
Not yet.
It should be a
Nope.
photograph of Highway 101. Via Zoom, I don't know if we're going to be able to broadcast that. I don't know if the system has that capability, nor do we have the knowledge to do it. It's hard to try to run this and do the presentation as well. So in the packet, you have to look through to see if the applicants, I'm not sure if they put that rendering in there, but the site plans in the application, as well as the elevations, are all part of the packet in the applicant's application. The rendering itself is not, and unfortunately, I can't get that to you via Zoom, sorry.
Anything else, Jeff?
I'm trying to figure out
Okay.
where I was at. 1 second, please.
Okay, sorry. Yeah, I thought I saw a rendering. Oh, the rendering is on page 28. Kathy, can you look at your laptop and talk at the same time? I don't mean literally, but you know what I mean.
So it's on page 28 of the packet. Is that what you're saying?
That, yeah, the plan, the elevation plans is
Okay, I
on
see
28. The site
yes,
plan
I
is
see the
page
elevation,
27.
Yes, but what I was seeing in the distance there didn't look like this, so that's why I was asking. Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Staff's provided 5 conditions for approval. The applicant's going to need to provide a detailed lighting plan for the proposed development at building permit review. Sidewalks will be required along Highway 101 as per their TIA. It was a recommendation that was part of the findings of the TIA to provide that pedestrian path and connectivity. Bicycle parking. I believe their site plan showed some bicycle parking. Now I got to stare into the sun too. This is really fun. Provide some bicycle parking. However, we need to show covered spaces. So that's something in the final development plans the applicant can incorporate, as well as the 13th Avenue right-of-way. That will either need to be a street vacation for the applicant's use, or since they are installing a sidewalk, I think it may be appropriate for the city council to consider a license agreement to utilize part of that right-of-way for their signage and the remainder of it as public access, because it will benefit both the applicant's development and the business to the south, the cinema. That pedestrian connectivity will be utilized for both locations. At this point, I don't have anything further. I can certainly try to answer any questions that the commission may have.
Wonderful, thank you. And who here would like to come up and represent this project? Have a oh, you can have a seat at the table.
Wow.
And please introduce yourself and your address, please.
Jan Schuche. I'm here to talk about the property that's neighboring 101 and on 14th, in between 13th and 14th, just north of the theater.
And what's your address? Your personal address.
Personal address.
Yes.
7716 Palacio Drive in Carlsbad, California.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So we drive markets all up and down the Oregon coast. We saw a need for a gas station in this portion of town. The other southern portion of town is pretty well pumped, and our business projects to have approximately 10 jobs. It's a 4,000 square foot convenience store. We'll have hot and fresh food. We'll have SNAP items, and the majority of the traffic will be coming from already traffic patterns that's fairly standard for gas stations. The lighting is going to be only with wall packs facing the east side of the property where there's no other housing. And the west side will not have wall pack lighting that's facing the 101 corridor, nor will there be wall packs to the north or to the south, meaning lights facing outward toward those areas. There will be lighting under the canopy, but we use LED lighting, which is very direct light, so it will shine down on the dispensers, but doesn't really shine out like the old-fashioned halogen lighting. Yeah, we hope that it's a nice new development that enhances the community.
Wonderful, thank you. Is there anybody else who would like to speak in favor of this project? Hearing none. Is there anybody opposed to this project? Debbie, do we have anybody called in other than Kathy? Okay. Well,
We
then-
do not.
Okay, in that case, I'll turn it over to the commission to ask questions. Kathy, I'm going to start with you so I don't forget you. Oh,
I would
Excuse
never
me.
think that you would ever
would you
forget me,
like to come
Robin.
up front here? And make sure your
Um,
microphone's turned on.
So I guess my first questions would be regarding the traffic flow through the easement in the back. What kind of traffic is being accounted for there? Flowing through there while there's a queue to get to the pumps. I'm assuming it's a one-way in pump and one-way out.
No, currently there isn't a single directional plan for those dispensers. Just with the nature of, our real fuel projections, there shouldn't be so much crowding that cars are blocked out. But the distance between 13th, I think that's the direction you're concerned about, or are you concerned off of 14th?
14th and the easement.
Okay. Well, the queuing should be fairly easy. There's a lot of room on both 14th and 13th headed back toward the theater. The pumps go dual directions, but it's a 4-pack, so it means it's 2 pumps back to back, stacked away from each other. So realistically, it's unlikely that the current traffic would warrant, more pumps or more queuing than is there. And it's probably a very unlikely scenario that the cars would stack up anywhere near backing up 14th where it couldn't be used for access to the theater, or and certainly not 13th, because that's a very, very long easement and a long stack option.
So clarify for me what you mean by 13th, because to me, it looks like your store is between the pumps and 13th. So physically impossible that there would be stacking to there.
Yeah,
So you're
so-
talking about stacking along the easement all the way to 13th. Is that what you're saying?
Yes, that's what,
Okay.
that's what I'm saying. I'm saying that that's very, very unlikely even in a crisis situation.
So will your pumps be servicing RVs as well as passenger vehicles?
I believe we are trying to make the canopy height large enough to be able to service RVs, in which case they would be blocking 2 pumps when they come in to fuel. That's just the unfortunate nature of the size of those vehicles. We don't expect to be fueling much in terms of commercial vehicles that would be taking up substantial space as well. That those tend to have fleet cards and will probably pump at the Wilcox and Flagel site further to the north.
Okay. There's just, my concern is the other traffic that will be using that uses 14th, as well as that pathway between the business that would be to the north, which includes a community college, and the cinema, the transit district, the people that get to the outlet mall using that road, and blockage that could happen because of on the highway and on 14th, and getting through that whole road based on usage of just the gas pumps. So I'm just trying to find out how much that has been considered in this plan, because we do get a lot of RVs, and yes, they will be excited to get fuel at the north end if they're coming in and heading south before they get through all of the traffic. So, I mean, I'm not saying that I don't think this is a good plan. I'm just hoping that there's been some planning and consideration that you can discuss in that regard.
Yeah, well, I know that we laid out some different stacking options. It appears that we could probably go 5 cars deep in that direction if all lanes were facing from 14th. And that's multiplied by the 2 different sides of the dispensers, right? So that's 20 cars could stack if they were all coming in from 14th, headed that southerly direction.
Okay.
Now, again, they're going to be coming from both directions, so that's an unlikely outcome. So you could maybe cut that in half to be more realistic and say that there's approximately stacking for somewhere around 10 cars, if there's cars already coming in the other direction, which should be more than adequate unless there's, again, some sort of extreme event like a tsunami type event where
People shouldn't be stopping at a gas station if we have a tsunami. That won't be happening.
Yeah, they rush in to fuel up. But we had this experience, the last tsunami warning at our newly built site in North Bend. It happens. But it's a rare emergency event.
Okay, so I guess to me, my concerns are the traffic that could be caused by stacking that, which could include RVs, which block visibility, bi-directional traffic trying to get to the fuel canopy, and then the safety of people walking in and out of the store, walking to your facility that I foresee as being a very busy place, considering it is going to be near the community college. It's near the movie theater. It's near a couple new housing developments. There's going to be a lot of foot traffic there. So did you request a variance for there not being a sidewalk on 14th?
No, we did not.
Okay. Just wondering why that was granted without a request for a variance on that.
This is their preliminary site plan. There's conditions that require that connectivity. So their development plans will have sidewalks showing that, but there's complications to that as they don't own the property directly adjacent to the highway. So that needs to be vetted with ODOT permitting to allow them to put that in. They don't own the property adjacent to the highway. There is an ODOT piece of property in between their development and the highway. So the condition that requires the sidewalk, that's going to have to come with ODOT approval. Otherwise, there's no possible way for them to put a sidewalk along the highway frontage.
Yeah, we could put a sidewalk in. We have a landscape buffer right now that's over 50% larger than what you guys require for this 101 overlay. But it would kind of be a sidewalk to nowhere because it couldn't connect to another sidewalk further down the street because it would be running into parking spaces for the theater that's inside of that buffer zone.
Is there a sidewalk over by the theater as well?
Mm-mm.
I couldn't hear an answer if there was one.
Not that I'm aware.
Okay, so I mean, I think that that's a good theory that we don't build sidewalks because they don't connect to anything, but that does not create more sidewalks and the ability for other people to connect to sidewalks. So our zoning code says that if an area is developed, that sidewalks are to be provided as well. And so I would like to see sidewalks put in along 14th and along the highway, considering the ODOT allowances that are needed for that. And I say 14th, even though that's a short road, because there will be a lot of foot traffic there. And we need to provide a safe way for people not to be crossing only at 101, so that the people that are coming from the community college, from the apartments that are up the road there, can cross the road safely and get around your complex and get to all the different things, being safe on a sidewalk.
Okay. I mean, I feel good about committing to building a sidewalk along 14th. And we're fine with building a sidewalk along our property, so long as ODOT allows it.
Understood. That's the fact that 14th was called out as not needing a sidewalk that I'm pointing to at this point. So
Okay.
I'd like to
that's fine.
reserve any further questions for later, Robin. I think that's all I have for right now.
Alrighty.
Commissioner Klezak, can we go over condition 3 so I can make a note if you want to change it?
Yes.
Condition 3 reads, the final development plan is required to install a sidewalk along the Highway 101 in conjunction with ODOT and the Public Works Director's approval. The sidewalk must meet the width standards in the TSP, 6 to 8 feet wide. Pedestrian paths accessing the proposed convenience store from the public right-of-ways will be required on the final development site plans. So it says pedestrian paths connecting to that sidewalk from the public right-of-ways, which includes 14th. Does that suffice for what your intention is, or would you prefer to alter that too?
I would like to specifically call out that 14th should be included in that, because in some of your findings, you stated that 14th does not need a sidewalk.
Okay, we can alter that.
Thank you.
And can you point out the finding to me?
I will find that while somebody else is asking questions. Yeah.
Okay.
Wonderful. Okay, thank you so much. And sorry about that. Mr. Mitchell. Mr. Rose.
No comments.
Ms. Stomer.
I have no questions.
Oh, for crying out loud.
That was half an hour ago.
Oh, I know. Okay. Well, I do have a question. And don't hesitate to bring your microphone a little more toward you. Just bring the whole thing.
I've got it.
There you go. Jeff, you mentioned well, let me ask something else first. As far as the easements concerned, let's see, it's Northwest Capital Investment Group. I believe they own that property and the mall. Are those in place, or is it just
Those are currently in place.
They are. So
Yes.
they're out of conversation and they are in place.
Yes, they're there.
Okay, that's a good thing. The question for Jeff was, you mentioned on the southwest corner where the vacation of 13th has to be, a possible right-of-way agreement with the city, whether if they don't vacate it or what have you. How long of a right-of-way agreement, what's the term of that agreement?
So the right-of-way agreement isn't for their sidewalk. Sidewalk would be an allowed approved.
I'm sorry.
It would be
I meant
specifically
for like
their
the sign.
signage.
Yes.
That would have to be a discussion with our attorneys on how that would be written and how it would be entered into. But it would be, again, specifically for the signage, not for the pedestrian path.
Right.
So,
Right.
again, and it would be a discretionary matter for the city council. The city council could say, no, we're not going to do that. But if that's where they'd like to place their sign, that would be the requirement to go through for them. And again, we would check duration and what the standard for that would be through our attorneys to draft the agreement.
Do we have other right-of-way agreements like that on file?
None from our new attorneys.
Oh, okay.
I'll put it that way.
Because I know that portion of 13th, that was vacated in 1990. Why they just didn't do the whole darn thing, I have no idea.
I don't know when the railroad right-of-way that runs north-south was vacated. It looks to me like that was vacated while the railroad right-of-way was still in play. So they vacated the remainder of 13th and left the tag end. Yeah. And that never got vacated in the 90s when it happened. So.
Okay, well, thank you for that. Easements, lighting plan is coming. Hey, on the lighting plan,
Yes.
on the east side of the building, you were talking about
Wall packs.
wall pack. Tell me what a wall pack is.
It's a light that shines out for customer parking safety.
Mm-hmm.
There's no visible, there's no windows planned for that side of the store, and it's just to create like a safe parking and customer environment there. So
Okay.
it's actual lighting that shines outward,
Outward.
which we don't have any other lighting to the west, south, or to the north that's going to be shining outward. Only the canopy lighting that's shining down.
Right. Okay. The reason I'm asking is and thank you for wanting to illuminate for safety, and that goes across the easement, obviously. Okay. And beyond that easement is the river, and then we have residential across the way. Are we going to have, if I've got my house looking directly at your wall pack, am I going to get blinded?
There's a bunch of foliage along that side to the west of the river. So I don't believe so, but maybe if someone's high enough, but that would be properties that are further out. So I think that should be fine. It's not very far-reaching light. It's not a like super bright light.
That's what I was wondering, what the distance is from,
It's just like
from the back of the building.
It's kind of like a parking light.
Okay.
And in essence, I guess we could also build them to be gooseneck lights that shine down more.
Some type of a
instead
shield.
out.
Yeah.
And that's an option to mitigate any light pollution further out.
Yeah.
But it seemed like there was enough foliage there that light wouldn't impact anyone further to the east.
The foliage is there for now. I'm thinking of the dead of winter. But yeah,
Yeah, that makes
something canted over the face of that just so it doesn't, like I said, blind the neighbors across the pond there.
sense. Okay,
That's
we'll
my
have
2
our
cents.
architect
Yeah.
modify for gooseneck lighting on that side.
Does anybody else have any comment on that? Okay.
I do.
Commissioner Klezak does.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, that was the other thing that I wanted to bring up is that we direct the lighting downward rather than outward, not just for the neighbors, but also because that's a riparian zone along the river.
I'm sticking my thumb up, Kathy. You can't see that, but if you can.
Okay.
Yeah, I believe the gooseneck lighting will solve that. Those are
Okay.
the light shines
Thank you.
down from those.
Wonderful.
Yes.
Thank you on that. Let's see. We discussed the sidewalk. Jeff, can you just educate me on why bicycle parking needs to be covered?
It's part of the Appendix G of the Transportation System Plan code changes that were adopted that we're working on getting codified into our actual zoning ordinance where they belong.
Got it.
But it specifies long-term bicycle parking is covered or enclosed, and short-term bicycle parking is your standard, what you see with the extensions. And this use is going to require, I believe, 2 long-term, 2 short-term
Got it.
required.
'Cause I think we
or
had
4 short-term.
5 in there all together.
If we have that building awning, the kind of overhang, the sloped roof in our elevation plan, would that be considered adequate cover if it's below an awning structure?
We'll leave that up to the commission to interpret if it's how big of an awning is it? What are we talking about?
Well,
Kinda
likely we'd need to extend it out a little further if we were planning to cover bikes as well. I think we had planned like maybe a 3 or 4 foot awning, so it'd probably have to go out to maybe 5 or 6 feet
This is off the front side of the building.
off the front side of the building.
Are you talking about on page 28, the elevation drawing?
I'm
I'm
not sure what
just-
page, but the elevation drawing he showed us
Yeah,
previously.
okay.
Yes, that's correct.
Because in plan view, it looks like you've got 20-foot clearance at the highest point and probably 12-foot, 10-foot outward.
Okay, so that could be larger than I had thought it was.
I'm just,
Then that should be hopefully adequate for cover for any weather events for the bicycles, which I think is probably the main concern, I assume.
I wanted to ask. Well, there you go. Now we got an answer to that too.
Is that,
Well, I think the intent behind it, and the commission can certainly weigh in on this, is to provide covered and secured bicycle parking for long-term storage. To, in this specific type of use, think of an employee that's going to work an 8-hour shift and store their bike there for an extended period of time. It's the short term is for the folks patronizing the business. The long term is for the folks that are there for a longer duration. So I don't know if a awning off the side of the building is going to quite meet the intent of that.
With a rack, I'm sorry, the rack I think was already in our plan,
Yeah.
but assuming the bike rack is up against, under the awning section.
I'll let the commission weigh in.
Adequate cover?
You know, nobody likes to ride home on a wet bicycle seat after an 8-hour day. I'm just saying. I mean, your car is one thing because you can go in and out of it with a door. Bicycle, you're kind of stuck. Because there isn't, in the elevation drawing, doesn't even show a bike rack, which is here nor there. I mean, that's a technical thing that you've just got to have. But if you had a covered area, I mean, enclosed area, something with 3 sides, people talk. What do you think? Where would that be?
3-side enclosure?
Well, you know, something, of course. Yeah, at least 3.
Well, theoretically, there could be bicycle parking along the landscaped area that's along the 101, not in that landscaped area, but next to it, under the awning, and theoretically, we could put another wall there, but I believe that, I mean, I'm an avid cyclist, that I would want there to be visibility on the bikes so that theft was less likely. So you'd probably want to have that other side open to discourage the theft.
Sure, I
So
understand that.
So I'm thinking with the covered portion, if the canopy goes out far enough so that rain doesn't, or weather elements don't come down onto the bikes and the rack is under the awning, effectively weather protecting the bikes that are locked to the rack, would that achieve the goal?
I don't know, Kathy, did you have some 2 cents on that?
Yes, I do. And I just would want to say that I would maybe look at someplace near where the EV charging is to create more of a shelter for the bicycles that is secure, because our rain doesn't just come down. It comes sideways, and the awning is, during those times of year, not going to really provide much protection for the bicycles at all, that are would be stored just chained up to a rack. So I agree that I believe the intent of the mention in the code is that we provide secured, sheltered parking, so that if an employee were to ride their bike to work, they would know their bike was safe and dry when they went to go leave from work to go back home again. And so I think a 3-walled or at least 2-walled shelter at minimum would be needed. So, I mean, if it was somehow added onto the EV charging area, would be kind of my thought. If it was built into that area somehow.
Yeah, there's very
I know
little
it looks
space
tight,
there.
yeah.
There's potential, again, to add it against that landscape area, maybe with just some of those sheltered bike enclosures that you can lock. You know, the ones that are like a plastic top and a hinge. You pull your bike in and then cover it. Would that be adequate? So we'd have 2 of those and then 2 open slots.
To me,
next
that
to
is
them?
secured parking. Yes.
Okay. All right. Well, we'll add that to our
But
plan.
I'm not the only commissioner that gets to speak on it. Wouldn't be the first time I've been overruled.
I have
Yeah, if it's adequate, we'll add that to our plan.
I have a question for you. So on the south side of the building, in looking at your site plan, number 11 that's the bike rack, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Correct.
5 minimum. And there's a door back there on the south side of the building, an exit?
I think we do have a door planned back there, but it's an emergency exit. It's not a entrance to be utilized.
Oh, no, that's fine. No, I was thinking, well, seems how you have a bike rack back there, instead of trying to fit long-term bike in your, what is that, your mechanical, by the trash enclosure, could you put a long-term on the south side?
Yes. You mean
Bicycle.
southwest instead of southeast?
Well, you've got the five spot bike rack for customers or whomever, but something that's long for the employees that's a little bit more covered up. And like you said, you're a bicycle enthusiast. You know what it's all about. Can you put that on the south side in conjunction with your 5-spot bicycle rack?
We could. I think if we were going to have covered parking with the realistic amount of employees working and customer travelers, in an ideal scenario, it would be more like the 3 open spaces and 2 covered spaces. If 2 is what's required for long-term employee parking.
Okay.
It just historically, I've noticed that they're not overly utilized, but also based on the number of employees that we're going to have there, it's very unlikely that we'd have more than 2 riding bicycles to work for any given shift.
Well,
And those ones are just
Chair Montero.
they're fairly expensive is the only reason.
Oh,
If
sure.
I may interject here, the
Sure.
code also specifies that bicycle parking needs to be as near as practical as the closest vehicular parking spot as well.
okay.
So I believe the applicant's onto a good path with the overhang off the front of the building for both his long-term and short-term parking. It puts it nearest the front door. It's just, how do we position the long-term parking so that it doesn't impede pedestrian traffic to that door? And I think anywhere along the front of that, if it was to the west closest to the vegetation for the long-term parking, and then maybe to the east side for the short-term parking, we can probably get him there.
And that's great. I was just about to say I will defer the detail to you, but we definitely need something covered.
Commissioner Klezik's got a comment?
Yes, thank you. I'm sorry, I did not see that 11 was the key for the bicycle parking proposal. I would have said something to start out with, that I didn't think that was a good spot for the bicycle parking to be, because it wouldn't provide visibility and it is not close to the door. So, yes, I agree with Director Florey's assessment that front of building, long-term and short-term should be bicycle parking should be located in the front of the building there someplace. It can be opposite sides, can be arranged in that area, but it should be someplace convenient and visible.
Can I ask a quick question? If we were to get the covered lockable parking for the bikes, which means those are hard covers that can't be vandalized, the bicycle can't be vandalized. If we put the 2 hard covers for the long-term parking at the back corner where 11 is now, and we put the 3 open parking spaces, but now they're covered, so there's an additional cover beyond what's required by code, and those are visible, because the long-term ones don't need visibility since we're switching to a covered model. And I believe that was an omission in our plan before, when we weren't planning to provide covered parking. But if we're providing covered parking where it is in the key today at 11, it would be a hard shell cover where the bike itself couldn't be vandalized. Like, you couldn't take the wheels off, or you couldn't touch it as the non-owner of that locked cover. So if we split them out, that would allow both pedestrian access to remain unimpeded, but also solve the visibility issue for the bikes that aren't covered, and a cost issue for us, so we don't have to get 5 of those covered bike receptacles.
Yeah, no, and I wasn't saying you needed to get 5 of the covered bike receptacles. I think that your proposal for getting the covered ones and putting them near the landscaping in the front, and then Community Development Director Florey's suggestion to put the short-term ones maybe on the other side of the front area, under the awning still, was also a good suggestion. I will leave it to the rest of the commission to decide what they think about this, because I think I've belabored it enough, and I've given my opinion of what we should do.
I have a comment. So you had talked about how the only what do you call those things? The light packs are on the west, on the east side. So it sounds like there is not a lot of lighting on the back side of this store.
Correct.
And I would be very concerned as a cyclist to leave my bike even in one of those locked things, without a lot of light around here in this town.
Okay. Yeah, I understand. It is susceptible, I guess, to somebody that's capable of destroying one of the locks. They are very like high security devices.
I'm very
because
familiar. I'm a
they're-
cyclist myself,
Yeah,
so
they're-
I'm very
there's,
familiar with them. But I would be, and no eyes on it. Nobody's. If you put them in the front, to where Jeff is suggesting, then people are by that area all the time. If it's in the back, then no pedestrians are going by there. There's no eyes on people who have time to jimmy the locks and start to destroy things. So that's my 2 cents on why not to put it where number 11 is.
Well, let me just ask, why isn't there any lighting on the south wall?
Because I think one of the highway overlay zone goals was to reduce light pollution along 101 corridor specifically. And lighting going to the south, while it wouldn't shine on 101 directly, it indirectly creates a lighting source that can be distracting. In theory, we could also do goosenecks back there, but it's just it's going to be a low utilization area in general.
When staff reviews a lighting plan, we'll have the applicant or the applicant's engineer submit a plan that shows the amount of lighting from the ambient light of the street lights, the neighboring properties, as well as the lighting that they'll put together. And then I work with the public works director on this as well. We look at it and determine if that's going to be sufficient to light pedestrian paths, driveways, and the important things without casting, as Commissioner Klezak brought up, light into our riparian areas or onto the highway. So there is a fairly comprehensive review that takes place when we do look at a lighting plan to make sure that it's going to be sufficient for the proposal and sufficient to protect that dark sky compliance that we shoot to achieve.
And there is no fencing on the south side of the property, correct?
No, none planned.
Okay. Let me see.
We will have security cameras as well across the site.
That's probably a good idea. Let's see, that's that. This is just a question that I had. So I'm the fuel truck. I'm gonna come fill up your tanks. I have to come southbound and head east into your station, is that right? Southbound on 101?
Correct.
Okay. And
So they need to go into the center lane where it's a turn lane and queue and then turn.
okay, and then you come out through the easement and then you exit
To the right at the stoplight.
at 12th. Okay. I'm just thinking that's a tight corner, but that's all right. I don't think I have anything else. Anybody have any further comments?
One last quick question. And this is probably going to, I probably already know my answer. Is there a crosswalk striping being planned for crossing over 14th?
Good point.
There was none in our plan.
You know, that might behoove you. I'm not necessarily suggesting to make it a condition, but that might behoove you with just beyond that are apartment buildings being built.
Okay.
And if you're a store, you're looking for young customers, you're looking for customers in general, that might behoove you to do that.
And it might actually direct the pedestrians to cross just there rather than at other places. It might help, especially for the younger pedestrians.
This is certainly within the realm of the commission to add that as a condition, along with the. I'm hearing there's potential for changes to condition 5. So maybe no, sorry, that was the wrong one. Condition 3. So maybe the commission can discuss that regarding the path on 14th. I know Commissioner Klezak mentioned that she wanted that specifically called out in the condition that there is a connected sidewalk on 14th to the development. And then that could be added as well if the commission chooses to ensure a crosswalk is striped on 14th. But I'll let you guys discuss and decide.
Well, now I'll say it. Let's do a crosswalk on 14th. What do you all say?
I think it's good.
I agree.
Mr. Rose?
That sounds good.
Mr. Mitchell? By the way, what page are your conditions on? I know I have them here, but there are 90 pages. If you can find them, just...
Page 13.
13.
Start. Section L.
There they are. Thank you. I even put stars on them, but it's just hard to find them sometimes. Great. Okay, so let's add in that
Zebra
crosswalk.
stripe crosswalk.
Mm-hmm. Add crosswalk on 14th.
Zebra striped crosswalk.
I beg your pardon?
Zebra striped crosswalk.
Zebras. Okay. You can do any animal you wish.
Well, I would defer to Public Works on their standards for crosswalk striping and not ensure that standard is met on what our Public Works director is wanting there.
On 14th. Okay. Anything else before I ask for a motion? Nothing?
And the connected sidewalk, that's included in there as well.
Connected. So let's go over it just to make sure. So
Yes, thank
the
you.
sidewalk connecting 14th Avenue to the rest of the development, a crosswalk to cross 14th Avenue, and do you want to add something specific about the bicycle parking? It's condition 4. The condition is fairly vague. It doesn't specify locations. You guys can add if you wanted it in the front of the building, in the lighted area, or
In the
leave it
front
up
lighted
to
area of the building would be my addition.
Okay.
What did you say, Kathy?
Front lighted area of the building.
I can go for that.
And we don't need to add anything about the gooseneck lighting.
No, because that's already been talked about in the lighting plan.
Okay.
Okay. All right. And on that note, I will entertain a motion.
I move we approve planning. I was trying to get to the beginning of this without missing it. Sorry. Application 76925000085 PLNG with the is it 5 conditions as amended?
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
A second.
Commissioner Klesak and Commissioner Stommer. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hurrah, you've been approved. Thank you very much,
Thank you.
and good luck. That's going to be a great location.
Appreciate that.
All right. Now, let's get to the other stuff here. Okay. And now we are on to, I believe this is considered ordinance administration. Is that right, Jeff?
Yeah, that's correct.
Okay. There we go. Had to get the picture. So ordinance administration on 769-24-000066.
This is a request by Restoration House through their representative, Christian Spanjic, for a extension of their conditional use. As some of you may recall, last year a Restoration House had brought forth a proposal to extend the number of beds that they have to service their clients for a serious and persistent mental ill patients to join their facility. Along with that, they've been working on site design, getting grant funding, and their conditional use, I believe, expired or was set to expire October 1st. They came in August 26th and filed a request to extend it. So it's within the 10-day requirement. And if the extension is granted, then their new expiration date will be 6 months from now, so April of 2026. I'll let the applicant, if they'd like to speak. I do have some. Sorry, Commissioner Klezak, I don't know if we're going to be able to get this on Zoom.
Jeff, I do have a question.
Sure.
2 questions. This hearing is strictly for the 6-month extension of that permit, correct?
Yeah, there's no public hearing requirement. It's just for the.
So it's strictly the extension only. Okay. And the 6 months is the work has to have started and not necessarily completed, but just begun.
Begun. That's correct.
Okay.
And usually we mark that by the issuance of a building permit of some sort.
Okay. Okay. All righty.
So
Did you have anything else
I
you
have
wanted
nothing
to say?
further
Okay.
unless the commission wants me to go over where this is located.
There it is.
All good?
All right, Kristen.
All right.
Introduce yourself.
I will.
We know who you are. But
Evening, everybody. Christian Zupancic, 615 Broadway Street, Suite 216, Seaside, Oregon, 97138, here on behalf of Restoration House. It's been a year, so we're back, and the reason that we're asking to extend this, the reason why it's taking a little bit longer than we hoped is, if you all can recall from a year ago, we had to vacate the right-of-way. That process happened through the city council. Just got completed, I think, 2 weeks ago. Is that right, Jeff?
Yeah, this last month.
Yeah, something like that. So that was just completed. That definitely affected a lot of the site plan issues that we had. So we wanted to know whether that was going to happen or not. I had a feeling that it was going to take that long. That's why I applied for this extension in August. So again, this is a 6-month extension. And in conjunction with this, in the last month after I had made this request, we also had an architect approach us, Stuart Emmons, who's here with us today, and he's located in Astoria. He's got some really kind of novel and exciting new type of architecture that we might be able to employ as a part of this. So it may alter a part of our site plan, but the important part is that nothing that has already been approved is going to change. There was an aspect, I think, that that Mr. Flory had put in there that said something about 10 additional beds, and I just wanted to correct that. It's 10 additional units. So just as a refresher, 21 total residents. That's what's been approved. 14 was the number before. The commission approved 7 additional. It's 10 additional units. The residents are going to get shuffled around. That's why the numbers seem a little bit odd, but 10 additional units. What Mr. Emmons is proposing here are 10 additional units, and these are just for the SPMI or the severe and persistent mental illness folks. They're almost like Legos. They're like little tiny homes, I guess you could call them, but they're modular apartments. And again, he's here, knows far more about this than I do, but they would get stacked 5 on the bottom, 5 on the top. And the difference from our existing site plan is that we're not necessarily modifying the building itself, but these units would get placed right outside the building, essentially where that old cottage was that's getting torn down, the one that was sitting in the estuary and that we're going to take out and basically rebuild the estuary. So it's going to be off to the side of that. Do you happen to have that that particular site plan that was in that email? I can plug it in if needed, but
I do, yeah. But I think it might be prudent to deal with the existing conditional use and have the commission discuss that extension of that one, and then talk about and what Mr. Savantis is getting to is what's a minor modification compared to a major modification. And there's specific reasons for maybe both of these going forward at once because of funding opportunities. So
Correct.
The first matter definitely is the extension, and if the commission's going to grant that. And then the second matter we can discuss is the other side of this.
I'll just speak first. I have no issue with extending this conditional use 6 months. Anybody else?
No.
Nothing? No? Roger? You have a concern? No. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And it's
Me too.
okay. Well, there you go.
All
We-
right.
We agree on the extension.
All right, good.
Okay, now, phase 2.
So-
What can of worms are you opening up?
Oh, there's so many worms. So in conjunction with this extension, I'm hoping that we can be able to meet this new April deadline that's going to be a product of this current extension. The reason is, and here's a picture of what these units would look like. You can see they're pretty simple. They're very, very narrow, but they do provide more room for each resident. Everybody essentially gets a private bathroom, very, very tiny living area, a little kitchenette, those sorts of things. But the question really, and again, if you look at the previous conditional use permit, the one that we just modified, as Mr. Flory was saying, there's a difference between a minor modification and a major modification. The minor one really is with planning director approval. A major one would be one that would require me to come back in front of the commission and say, is this okay? This one we believe is a minor because there's no, it's just a change to the site plan. There's no change to the number of residents, the number of additional units, or parking, which again is a minimum of 3. There will still be a covered bike area. This is, again, this is the possible plan that we have in motion here. Another thing that's important to note about this is an alternative plan. It's not that we have committed to this completely, and the reason is there was a recent Senate bill that just went through the Oregon legislature that has committed funding to this sort of thing, but not necessarily to this project. So we don't know if we'll get funding for this particular type of building. We won't know that until probably February, March next year. So I'm hoping that we know enough in advance that I don't have to come back to you and ask for another extension. But we're going to push on this as hard as we can. So again, this is an alternative site plan. And I don't want to have to come back to the commission. You probably don't want to be talking about the particulars of a site plan. It seems to me that the commission generally cares about how many residents do we have, how many units, how many parking spots, do we have covered parking, that sort of a thing. All that stuff will be the same. So again, I believe this is minor and it's in the alternative. One of the reasons that this is attractive to us is because it solves a major problem of relocation for the residents. We've been trying to figure out where to put these existing residents during construction, and not a lot of options are panning out. We definitely tried, I think it's called Hawksbeard Apartments, the one that's in the old red line, Hawkseye, right? Did not work out. So this solves that problem pretty readily. The existing residents can stay in the house while that construction is happening. These units go up pretty quickly, and as soon as they're ready to go, they can move in. So again, we don't know if this is going to happen or not. And we won't know probably until February, March of next year. If we don't get the funding, we'd like to just go back to the old plan and we'll figure out how to relocate the residents. If it does happen, we're going to go as fast as we possibly can. So, but in the interest of full transparency, we wanted to let the commission know that we had this idea in mind, that Mr. Emmons is here working with us currently. So, and I'm sure that he'd be happy to answer any questions about how this design works as well.
Real quick, Commissioner Klezak, I'm trying some new stuff with our technology. Did the site plan come up on your screen? Are you able to see it?
Yes, I'm seeing your whole slide deck. If you put it into presenter mode, I will see it a little bit bigger and just that. So yeah,
Let's try it. See what happens.
there you go.
So this is the rendering
Yeah.
of the cubed units that we showed previously, and this is the site plan that the applicant's discussing.
Okay, thank you. That really helps.
Okay.
All right, what questions do we have for Christian?
I have no questions.
Mr. Rose?
No questions.
Mr. Mitchell? Ms. Klezak?
Jeff, can you go back to the rendering of the cube? Yeah.
And that's, by the way, that's more than 10 units. So this is just an example, obviously.
Sure.
Yeah.
And yeah, just seeing it as an example,
Right.
versus what is there now versus what the application was for. This is an entirely different project to me. It would be housing the same people, but this is now a whole different project. So I don't understand the framing that this is a minor modification.
It's really about site plan. Site plans definitely get modified fairly frequently, and they're subject to approval by building department, not necessarily planning. So planning is going to obviously tell me what uses can you make of the land, how many occupants can you have, how many total units can you have, how many parking spots, all of these sort of very general questions that are going to be applicable regardless of what the site plan looks like. So for example, the site plan that we talked about with the original conditional use permit was a modification and adding some rooms to the building. Once you go to the building department, they may say, well, code says you need to rearrange those rooms in some other fashion, which is fine. Basically, you can modify that site plan to fit whatever the building department is going to require from you. This, again, is just taking the 10 units that we're going to add inside the building and putting them outside the building. Again, the parking's going to get rearranged, but will still be there. Same with covered bike parking and everything else. So it's really it's not a modification to the use that was approved. It's only a modification to the design. And that is why, I would consider it a minor modification because it's more of a building department issue than a planning issue.
Adding an extra building to the property, increasing the density on that property, maintaining the same building footprint that already exists there and adding this to it. So I would say that still is not a minor modification.
Sure, and it's up to the commission whether they want to consider it minor or major. The difference procedurally would be whether it's something I need to clear through only a planning director or through the planning commission itself. So either way is fine, but again, I just wanted to have full transparency about the way that we're thinking about possibly arranging these units. The addition that we previously talked about that expanded the building footprint would not happen. That footprint would stay the way it is, but the lot coverage, of course, couldn't be changed either. That's definitely set by zoning requirements. So we can't change that. It'd just be that the footprint would be relocated to the side of the building and not connected to the building.
Is there a graphic of the lot layout with the additional building on it?
Right there, yeah. So if you look at that, I mean, if you were to take that box right there that says micro studios, it's kind of bottom left. If you were to shove that to the right of the building, it would, or rotate it and shove it to the right of the building, it might look more like our original plan. But as of now, it's rotated and pushed to the left. So again, it's definitely a reconfigured site plan, same amount of units.
I'm looking at the original site plan that you submitted back on 10/1/24, and it is exactly that. It's like you cut and pasted it and moved it over.
Right. Right.
I'm just curious. The square footage really doesn't matter because you're within the parameters of what was decided to begin with as far as the setbacks and all that jazz.
Right.
3rd Avenue has been vacated. Yeah, this is a big deal. However, I would hate to see you have to come and do this all over again.
Yeah.
I have no problem in referring to this as, I hate to even call it a minor modification because it's not a minor modification.
Sure.
However, I personally would approve of the design change. Everything else is still the same as far as the parking,
Right.
You know, the building in the back is still going to be gone. It is literally as if you just cut off the back and turned it. I'm curious though. I'm curious about how you are going to, and it has nothing to do with the Planning Commission, how you're going to be servicing your clients there when there's no longer connected to the building.
There's still going to be a central office, and I think that the location of that office might change based on these additional units. I don't exactly know where. I think the idea is to give these SPMI residents more autonomy, rather than their own room that does not have their own bathroom or a little kitchenette. That was the old plan. Each one of these units does. So, and that's more in keeping, I think, with their condition, I should say, is that it's better for them to have those sorts of facilities. So that, I mean, and again, on top of that, it solves our relocation issue and is also an extremely efficient way to be actually building affordable housing. So this is a brand new thing that the Oregon legislature said, yeah, this could be the future of how we start building some affordable housing units, which is exciting for us. So, but again, you know, whether you consider this a minor modification or major, that was a matter of caution that I wanted to bring this to the commission and just say, you know, however you want to look at it. I wanted to show everybody what we were looking at and let you decide for yourselves if this is okay.
I just have one other question. Do you have no plans on putting a third story on that?
On those units? I don't think
your
we
architect's
could.
shaking his head. No.
Yeah, I don't think it would work. Yeah.
Okay. I was just wondering.
Yeah. I don't think we have the approval at the baseline for that kind of thing anyway, because that would be 15 units. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So you got my 2 cents. I don't see a problem with just deferring this back to the planning office to deal with. I don't want to have to see Restoration House have to come forward again.
Just to clarify, because I think I heard this isn't going to change the amount of tenants, clients that will be residing on the property.
Correct. The original approval a year ago was from 14 to 21, and that's going to stay the same. It was always 10 additional units. Those 10 additional units were going to be inside the building. Now they're out. Okay. And again, this is an alternative plan. We may have to scrap this because the funding doesn't come through in February, March, or whenever we're hoping that it will. We may have to go back to the old one. So that's important in the sense of procedurally speaking, me saying I kind of like to have both alternatives available and approved at the same time so that we can execute on either one and not have to come back in April and say, can I get an extension and another approval? So that we just kind of tie it all up as much as we can today.
Chris, was your original plan, were these clients each going to get their own individual room?
They were, yeah. So right now we have some SPMI residents who don't have their own room, and they were going to get shuffled so that they would get their own room. The old plan, it was their own room and that was it. There's no bathrooms or anything like that, no little kitchenettes. So this would be better for them overall.
Kathy, what do you say?
Now that I've been able to zoom in on the image and I can see it better, I can place it in where it is. I don't have any problems with this. Thank you.
Ms. Dahmer?
I'm good with it.
Mr. Rose? And Mr. Mitchell?
I'm good with it.
There you go. You got your work cut out for you.
Yeah, and just a point of clarification for the commission, anytime there's a question like this that's not conveniently defined and there's ambiguity, I will defer that to you to make the determination on what the interpretation is.
Mm-hmm. And I don't know if you were unaware or not, but at the time that we got this, we had no new site plan. We had no new groovy drawings. So
Yeah, this came about pretty recently.
it's you.
This,
It's
this
you.
week, things were coming together this week. So with the
Okay.
last-
Yeah, really very quickly. Yeah.
Anyway,
Yeah.
well, congratulations, and fingers are crossed on the funding.
Yeah, we'll see.
Cross
Thank you
your
very
fingers
much.
too for them,
Yeah.
because we
Thank
need
you.
that. Thank you so much.
Thanks a lot.
All righty. Let's see. That one's done. That one's done. That's done. Let's see. Comments from city staff.
I have
Any
nothing.
comments? Nothing?
The draft comp plan was released to the steering committee yesterday.
It's very exciting, folks.
The graphics are mostly in, the pictures are mostly in. The steering committee meeting was recorded, so it is on YouTube. And we are pushing forward, hopefully, to have the comments incorporated from the steering committee and from our technical advisory group. And that will lead us to hopefully a November work session where the comp plan will be released to the public and to the planning commission to start having those discussions and working our way through the adoption process. I think we're getting close to the finish line on this one.
It's very exciting. It's very exciting. Just a note here, the middle housing code update that was for our work session immediately following has been postponed, so you can get home sooner than later. Okay, and what kind of comments do we have from the commission? Ms. Klezak?
It's been busy in my world. I apologize for not being there in person. Work has me all over the state, and this is conference season. So I've been talking to lots of people, and it was good to speak to our 3J consultant just last week, and they are very excited about the big reveal. So that's all I have to say.
Wonderful.
See you in Bend next week.
Yeah, she'll probably be there.
I will be in Bend next week. Yes. See you there.
Mr. Mitchell? I don't have anything. Mr. Rose?
Nope.
Ms. Sommer?
Well, tonight's my last meeting, and I wanted to thank you all for the opportunity to serve on the commission with you. I have learned a lot, and I have enjoyed it. Thank you.
And I want to say thank you so much.
you.
I'm going to miss you. I'm going to
Thank
miss
you.
you. But we know where you'll be at on Tuesday night at 6 o'clock. So, and I have nothing else to say other than that comprehensive plan presentation is pretty flippin' awesome. I almost slipped there, but I didn't. It's pretty awesome. Okay, and with that,